All right, everybody. So I want to tell you a little bit about myself before I get started with the astrology podcast, because this is my first podcast ever. So my name is Talia, like I said, and I have been on a spiritual journey for a very long time now, but really deep into it for about 5 years. So I just wanted to share my wisdom and what I've found with you guys because I really feel like that's really important. So I even have a spiritual practice journal that I write in with different tools that I use and that I've researched that work for people. So that's just a little bit about me, and I want to get on to astrology now because that was one of my first loves when I was delving into self-knowledge and learning about myself and learning about what fit for me and what really resonated. And I really liked astrology, even when I was, I don't know, junior high. Junior high it started. Me and all my friends, we would do, signs and figure out who liked what boy and if the boy was compatible with our sign or whatnot, which I thought was kind of fun. So I'm going to go over the signs really fast. I'm sure a lot of people already know the sun signs, but just as an FYI, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, and so naturally it's ruled by Mars, and it's leaders, and it represents courage, a lot of self-starters and such. The color of Aries is red. It's a masculine sign, and its element is fire. Taurus is the second sign of the zodiac. It is an earth sign. It's also feminine. The color is pale blue, and they tend to be very dependable and stick to their comfort zones, and can sometimes be stubborn. The third sign of the zodiac is Gemini, and it's an air sign. It's a masculine sign. Its color is yellow. This is ruled by Mercury, and usually they're very intellectual and communicative, and they are sometimes charming, or I shouldn't say sometimes, most of the time, most of them are very charming. And then the fourth sign of the zodiac is going to be Cancer. Cancer is a water sign, the first water sign of the zodiac. It's a feminine sign. The colors are silver green or sea green, and also silver. And it's a nurturing sign. It's kind of I always think of the mother sign. It's also a very loyal sign. They tend to really, because it's a water sign, the emotions run pretty deep with them. Our fifth sign of the zodiac is going to be Leo, and Leo is the lion. It's a fire sign. It's masculine. The colors are gold and orange, pretty much gold. I tend to think of them as the entertainers. They're very exuberant, and they're fun. They're fun party people, I want to say, most of the time. Tend to be slightly dramatic. So the sixth sign of the zodiac is going to be Virgo, and Virgo is an earth sign. It's also a feminine sign, and their colors are navy blue and gray. They are very practical, analytical. I feel like they're very clean and organized a lot of the time. And even if it doesn't have an outward appearance of being clean and organized, in their head, they're very, they kind of compartmentalize, I guess, a lot of stuff. So what are we up to? 7. Our seventh sign of the zodiac is, are we really up to 7? I'm lying. No, I'm not lying. All right, 7th is the Libra, and Libra is an air sign. It's a masculine sign. The colors are lavender or blue. I tend to see more lavender. I think Librians are pretty charming as well, and they exude this sensual kind of energy. The way that they move and the way their body language. They're really good with body language. And so that's Libra. Scorpio is the 8th sign of the zodiac. It's going to be ruled by water. It's feminine, and their colors are technically dark red, like maroon or burgundy, something like that. They tend to run very passionate and intensely throughout their life. Another sign, which is the 9th sign, is Sagittarius. Sagittarius is a fire sign. It's also a masculine sign. It's ruled by the color purple, which tends to be my favorite color. And they are extremely optimistic and energetic. They usually have their own sense of confidence about them, and that's always really cool to see with Sagittarius. The 10th sign of the zodiac is going to be Capricorn. It is an earth sign. It's feminine, and their colors are dark green or brown, which relates pretty well to earth. I always think of them as a very disciplined, and I always kind of think of them as the workaholic of the zodiac signs. But they like to be very secure. They like to feel stable in their life. And this is all generally speaking. The 11th sign of the zodiac is Aquarius. It is air. It is masculine. The color is blue. And you always think Aquarius would be a water sign, but it's actually not. It's an air sign. Just always threw me off. But Aquariuses are usually very unique. They have their own sense of style when it comes to fashion and makeup and stuff like that. But they're very unique and extremely friendly. A lot of the times, they're very approachable. They're very smiling people. But they're also very detached. We'll get into that later. Pisces is going to be the last sign, the 12th sign of the zodiac. It is a water sign. It is a feminine sign, and their colors are light green or turquoise. And they're very imaginative and compassionate. I feel like they always, like a lot of people say that they kind of live their life in rose-colored glasses. They are kind of the dreamers of the zodiac, which you can either appreciate or shrug off. All right, so those are the basic sun signs of the zodiac. But now I want to get into the planets and what the planets mean, because there's 3 major foundational aspects to astrology. There are the signs, there are the planets, and then there are the houses that are in the astrological chart. And depending on what sign is in what planet in what house, it kind of makes for this weird mathematical equation. So now let's go on to the planets. So Mercury is kind of the planet of understanding and thinking, and your thought process, how you understand and think about things. Venus is going to be more about love, obviously, and pleasure, also relationships. So this is always, Venus is pretty close to us, and it affects us a lot more. Mercury, Venus, and Mars are the planets that really affect us because they're the inner planets that we tend to jump to, as well as the moon, which we'll get into that. But Mars is going to be the planet of action and energy, so where you put your energy and how you react to certain situations. Do you have a temper? Do you hide it inside? And do you tend to run on the positive side or the negative side of life? This is Mars influence. Jupiter is the giant planet of abundance, and it tends to be more materialistic games, but it can be, people call it the planet of luck, so, take it or leave it. Saturn is going to be the planet of limitation and obstacles, but Saturn is not necessarily can be looked at as bad. It's obstacles that are going to help you grow into your future self, into life. So Saturn, a lot of people say Saturn return, which is actually more into numerology stuff as well, which again we'll talk about later. I'm very excited about this podcast. But Saturn is the planet that's going to give you that little push that you need from the universe in order to get unstuck from certain situations or certain people that are not necessarily benefiting you in your life, and that you may need to grow out of. Right, Uranus is going to be, or Uranus is going to be the planet of spontaneity and uncertainty, and sudden happenings, crazy events that just kind of sideswipe you didn't know were coming. That is Uranus. Neptune is the planet of mysticism, esoteric sciences, spirituality. All of that jazz is going to be Neptune. I really like Neptune. That reminds me of Sailor Neptune from Sailor Moon. She was one of my favorites. And then we have Pluto, and Pluto is the farthest reaching, and we could debate whether it's a planet or not, but you know what? In astrology, it's a freaking planet, so we're just going to do that. And that is, Pluto is the planet of transformation and death and rebirth. So this planet, aside from Neptune, this planet is also a very mystical planet, but it's the planet that's really about the phoenix kind of rising. And then I wanted to get to the moon, and the moon is actually part of, like, we have our sun signs, which I just went over. Then you also have your moon sign, and your moon sign represents your inner self. So the sun sign represents like your individuality, your personality, your kind of style, how you express yourself. The moon is going to be your inner self, maybe even on a subconscious level, the way that you feel and your emotions that not necessarily are portrayed on an outward level. And then you also have your rising and ascendant signs. And your rising or ascendant sign, either the names can be interchangeable. And this is kind of how the world sees you. So these are the three main signs that really influence your personality and who you are as a being on Earth. So you have your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising sign. And astrologers really, really like to know that stuff, because that's really, like I said, the person that's you on this planet right now. And just a side note for the moon stuff, I just want to let you know that I know people do new moon and full moon stuff. So new moon, when there's a new moon on the calendar, that means usually like new beginning, new phase in your life. You can that's when you start making vision boards and start really manifesting what you want to come into the next phase of your life. A full moon is more of an increased energy in wherever you're at in the moment, in that, not necessarily in the moment, but in the general vicinity of that time period. So the full moon, if you're super angry at somebody, it's going to be intensified. If you're super like having a party and excited, then that's going to be intensified as well. Passion, all that stuff is going to be intensified, which is fun when you know and you're aware on how to harness it. All right, so now we have the houses, and the houses, that circle thing that's your birth chart, and it has all the different pie sections. So those are the houses, and the houses are divided into 12 pies, 12 pieces of pie, just like your zodiac signs. So the first house is going to be yourself, just kind of like the sun sign, your style, your individuality. The second house is going to be the house of money and possessions, material goals, stuff like that. Third house is communication and your relationship with others. Fourth house is home and kind of your lifestyle, how you lead your lifestyle at home. Your fifth house is going to be creativity and passion and or sex, and how you express that. Your sixth house is going to be the house of service and health. So, and I'll give you some links to share so that you guys can do your own birth chart for free, which is awesome. And then hopefully this podcast will help you and explain it while you're looking at your own birth chart. But like I said, the 6th house is the service and health house. So if you have any ailments, anything like that, you might want to look into that house and see if maybe this is some kind of karma life stuff going on. The 7th house is marriage and partnerships. Now don't be scared if you don't have any planets or any signs in that house. That doesn't mean you're not going to have a relationship. No worries. It just means that it's not necessarily highlighted in this life. And that goes for any of the houses and any of the planets and stuff. The 8th house is kind of a mystical house. It is the house of death and regeneration. Again, Phoenix, transformation, all that kind of stuff is going to be in the 8th house. You tend to be drawn into like you're curious about the, not necessarily I want to say dark side, but it's not the dark side. It's just the mystical side. And so the 9th house is going to be mental exploration. So again, it's kind of more like what is it? Not well, it could be psychology or philosophy, stuff like that. The 10th house is going to be the house of career, any kind of career that you have. The 11th house is your hopes and fears and wishes, and all that stuff bundled up in the 11th house. And the 12th house is the house of self-undoing. And this is the most misunderstood house of the zodiac. It doesn't necessarily mean bad stuff, but it does mean that like in this lifetime, if you do have planets or astrology signs in that house, it means that you're kind of looking inwardly more. You're probably going to be more necessarily of an introvert, and examining yourself and how you deal with certain situations. All right, so now I'm going to give you those free websites that I go to. And usually I've been going to this website since I was like 16. And it's still up and it's still free, which is awesome. So you can go to a website. It's alabe.com. And you just click on the free birth chart and it'll make you enter your birthday and the time you were born and where you were born, because that is really important for you so that you can get the clearest picture of your birth chart. And that will also help generate your ascended sign and your moon sign. Or you can go to Astro Cafe. Astro Cafe has their own free birth chart as well. It's a little more in depth, and it'll tell you the different aspects and how they relate. Like, if your sun is in the sign in this house, what it's going to do. So it's definitely more in depth, which is cool. But it also kind of gets jumbled because a lot of the free birth charts tend to be, how can I put this? They tend to not be as individualized as when you actually pay for a birth chart and go to an astrologer or whatnot. So take it with a grain of salt. Learn what you can learn about yourself. I love doing birth charts. I love astrology. It really helped me learn about myself more and my thought processes and my life purpose, what I'm here to do. And so I really hope that this helps you understand a little bit more about the houses and the pie thing, and also the planets and their influence, and also the signs, the zodiac signs. And so if you guys have any questions or concerns, please let me know. My name is Talia, like I said at the beginning of the podcast, and you can go to Talia the Truth. I have a YouTube channel, I got a Facebook, my website's about to come up, and I'll spell my name because it's crazy. So it's TAHLYA, and it's thetruth.com. So you're welcome to find me. Find me on Facebook, friend me. I do private tarot readings right now, and I'm really getting my business up and running. I really appreciate everybody's support. I really feel called to do this so that people have this information on hand whenever they need it. If you guys have any questions, if you guys have anything that you want me to talk about, I will even do the research and then do this podcast because I'm super into the spiritual aspects. I really like crystals and reading auras and opening your third eye, all that kind of stuff, all the fun metaphysical stuff. And I know it doesn't necessarily have to be fun. I love it, and it's fun for me. But it's really eye opening. It gets you to know who you are as a person when you really tap into yourself. And I think that's the biggest thing for people is that sometimes we get so socialized by what is going on in the outward world that we don't understand ourselves on the inward level. And like it's a work in progress for a lot of people. I'm still doing it. And I think I'm probably still going to be doing it until I die. But it's become something that I'm amazed with and something that I really love doing and sharing with people. So please like this, comment, let me know what you guys think. I super, 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 super love all of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for watching. And you can follow me on Instagram too. I'm on Instagram. All right, I hope you guys had a great time listening to me blabber on about astrology. Namaste, lovelies.